Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar called No Office Apps, How to Work Effectively in an All-Remote Team Using Modern Apps. My name is Natalia and I will be the panelist for today's webinar. The webinar will take about an hour and a half and it will be divided into two parts. The first will be Michael's presentation on apps that will make your and your team's work even more effective. It will take about an hour and I highly encourage you to stay until the end as we have some special bonuses for you that we'll talk about at the end of the presentation. The second part will be a standard Q&A session where Michael and I will be answering the questions that you can send over to us during the webinar. You can submit your questions in the Q&A box that you can see at the top of your screens. Next to the Q&A box, there's also the chat box where you can chat or ask questions to other attendees, as well as the panelists of the webinar, and that's myself and Marcin, whom you cannot see, but he's here with us today. Okay, so firstly, let's hear from you guys and let's check if everything is working properly. If you could just head to the chat window for me and tell us where you're joining us from today. Let's wait a second for everyone to join in, and here we go. We've got a person from Amsterdam, Singapore, England, Dubai, London, Israel, Paris, New Jersey, Luxembourg, Portugal, Netherlands, Belgium, from Poland, South Africa, wow, UK, amazing. So here we go again. Oh, okay, more people from the Netherlands and the UK. That's great. So here we go again. We've got people from all over the world, and that's really amazing. So let me just welcome you again. We really appreciate the time that you're spending with us on this webinar. I hope that you will find it really inspiring and that it will help you be more productive and more efficient. We're going to see Michael in just a second, so let me just remind you that you can enter your questions during the webinar in the Q&A box at the top of your screen. And please remember to use the Q&A box instead of the chat box to enter your questions so that we can filter them afterwards. And the chat box may be used to chat with us during the webinar. All right, guys, so we're about to officially begin Michael's webinar, so let's meet our instructor for today. Hi, Michael.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Let me add some light here. Wait a second.
Sure.
All right. So, wow, there are people from all over the world here. Lots of people from Europe and also from Singapore and Asia. So really great.
South Africa, even.
Africa, yeah, fantastic. And even the States. I mean, it's really late at night, but we really appreciate that you're coming for this webinar so late. It's fantastic. So yeah.
Exactly.
I can't wait to share this webinar with all of you guys, because this is totally new content, totally new things. I mean, people who listen to the podcast that we do with Radek, then they might know a little bit from that, but because a few of these issues we already discussed on the podcast. And if you don't listen to the podcast, I encourage you to subscribe to the podcast.fm. And well, we'll share really some cool stuff, how to really be more productive in a team, in a small team, in a big team, like in an office. So I hope this will ring some bells and resonate with people and inspire them to just work better.
Yes, I'm sure it will be amazing, and I can't wait. And I think that everyone is really looking forward to hearing your presentation. So I'm just going to switch off my camera, and now it's over to you. So good luck and see you at the Q&A session.
All right, so I'll also switch off my camera here. No Office Apps. It's the title No Office Apps. It's because, no office, which means that the office is optional. But the apps are not, because the apps help us communicate, even if we are not in an office. If we are, remote, we'll talk about this in a second. So thanks for coming for this webinar. As you know, I'm the founder of Nozbe. I'm Michael Sliwinski, the founder of Nozbe. what we do by day is help create a project and time management application for all the major platforms. We have apps for the iPhone, iPad, Android, Mac, Windows, Linux, and of course the web. But this is what we do by day, and we are passionate about productivity. And today on this webinar, we want to share something completely new, something we learned the hard way. And it's based on a new book that I wrote, No Office Apps, how the Nozbe team uses modern technologies to communicate better and get more done. And the idea is this. We had this concept we started sharing how we communicate in Nozbe, how we work effectively in Nozbe on the podcast. And from there, I wrote about this concept as an article, but then later I started to develop the concept even more. And in the end, there is this book. It was supposed to be a short book, but it's almost 80 pages. So it's a very nice, very practical book with lots of examples, lots of ideas, and lots of really things that you can learn quickly and start implementing virtually right now to improve your team communication and your team productivity. So this book, was we are giving it right now to the customers. So right now we are running a promo at Nozbe that you can get 3 months free if you extend for a year or upgrade for a year. But the cool thing is that if you think about it, if you do the maths correctly, a yearly payment for Nozbe already you save already 2 months of the subscription. So in the moment that you right now extend for a year, you actually pay for 10 months and get 2 + 3 months free. So you pay for 10 months and you get actually 15 months of Nozbe. So this is really a great deal. We don't do it very often. And this one expires this Monday. So it's only available this Monday, but only today during the webinar. If you extend right now, if you use the link here, nozbe.com/now, then you will be able to actually get the book as well. So make sure to visit this page, nozbe.com/now. And of course, during the whole webinar, don't be shy. Ask your questions in the Q&A segment in the chat. We'll be happy to answer them. Martin and Natalia are there to answer your questions and also to get ready, for the Q&A segment, which will be very interesting, I think, based on the content. Because, as I said, the content here is totally new, and I'm sure you'll have some questions. So just please pay attention and ask your questions, and I'll be happy to answer them during the webinar. All right. So there is this question that I get all the time. Where are you based? So it's because people think that that when you have a company, you need to have an office. And in the case of Nozbe, we are an all-remote company. As you can see here on this slide, this is my office. This is my actually home office, and I'm actually standing right now at this desk at this very moment. And people ask me, where are you based? So I'm showing them my iPad, I'm based here, I can work from anywhere. And they're like, yeah, but where's your office? And then we don't have one, we work from home. And people are like, yeah, so you're this company that, is struggling and has a few people, and you just, you don't have money to actually pay for an office. And I'm like, not really. We are 20-something people company. We have 10 more other companies that we work with very closely. So 10 more collaborators, and we have been doing this for almost 10 years now. I mean, next February 2017, we're going to celebrate 10 years of Nozbe. So this was our lifestyle choice, our choice that we want to work from home, we want to work from anywhere. We have people working from Poland, from Germany, from Spain, from Japan, China, USA. I mean, we have people working from all over the world with us, and we still get lots done, and we don't have to prove anything to anyone, because you are here because you know Nozbe and our software. And as you can see, I mean, our team is we are a very nice bunch, and we meet twice a year. We do this, we call it Nozbe reunion, where we meet in person twice a year. And actually, our next meeting is in 3 weeks, so we all can't wait to see each other. And but apart from that, we all work remotely. So when people, ask me the question, where are you based? And later realize that actually we are not based anywhere, we're based wherever we are, then they are like, so how is it possible? I mean, this can't be true. I mean, how can you get it all done? And then I explain that actually, and this is actually why I came to this webinar, to this No Office Apps book. It's because I realized that this kind of constraint that we are not in one office, that we cannot walk to each other's desks, made us realize that communication in team is more it's not as easy as you think. Especially, it's more nuanced. And actually, we were forced. Our situation of not having an office forced us to actually evaluate all these channels of communication and find out the best and the most effective ones. And because we're passionate about productivity, we wanted to share this with you. And even though you might be working in a traditional office, I'm sure you'll learn from some of the things that we'll share in this webinar, and you will be able to just implement some of the tricks and tips right there in your company. So let's start with the traditional office, and especially when there's an open space involved. These are the photos of authentic Facebook office. This is Facebook office in California before they moved to the new one. I was visiting there, and I saw this, and I was just surprised, first of all, that they use open space, which lots of people praise because they say it's a great collaborative environment, which I strongly disagree with. But second thing, let's just look at this. I mean, the idea is that in a traditional office, because we are so close to each other and we are humans, and that's fine, we default to two ways of communication. We either walk to somebody and just talk to them because they're right there, so we can just walk to them and ask them questions. Or what happens is that we send emails, right? I mean, this is like the traditional, like emails and voice, face-to-face meetings. And if you work in a traditional environment, you know that there are lots of meetings scheduled throughout the week, and very often too many, but we'll get to that in a second. So that's basically the idea of an office, and that's perfectly normal, because like people are next to each other, so it's really easier to just walk to somebody, ask them something. But the question is it really good that you can do that? Is it really okay that you interrupt somebody by just walking to them and asking them a question when you want to do it? So there are moments where you should, but there are moments where you shouldn't, and we'll talk about this in this webinar. So before I start, I want to explain just one of the revelations that we had, is that in Nozbe, inside our team, we prefer task-based communication. So what we do is we have two different channels of communication. Email is only for external world, so for everyone else, not for the team. We don't email each other. We actually are banned from emailing each other, because what we do is we communicate through tasks in shared projects in Nozbe. So if you want to email me, my email is michael@nozbe.com. So it's I still use email, and Natalia actually is my assistant, and she helps me go through my email. And so I use email, and we all use email to communicate with the rest of the world. But inside the team, we prioritize our communication because we think our communication inside the team is more important than the communication with the outside world. So we want to have it on a different channel, and our different channel is task-based communication. But we'll deal with that later. But I just wanted to just give you a heads up that I think it's healthier to have to separate email for the rest of the world, and something else, a system that works for you inside your team. All right, so this is the pyramid of communication, and this is something we came up with by experience, by testing lots of things, trying lots of new things, experimenting, and this is how we think communication, effective, efficient communication, should be done in a team. As you can see, it's a shape of a pyramid. I mean, and the basis of the pyramid is deep work. So this is the place where you get your work done. This is the place. I mean, this is what you're being paid for. I mean, we're all knowledge workers. So what actually companies that hire us want us to do is deep work. They want us to use our expertise to get things done. So we should spend most of our time, uninterrupted, focused time in deep work, to be able to deliver our work, our best work, and send it to the team for feedback. And feedback is the second layer of the communication pyramid. So in the first level, you create your work and send it out to the team. And on the second level, you get feedback. So what you do is you ask for feedback and you get feedback back. But on this level, you still work a little bit asynchronously, because you ask for feedback, but you don't expect it to be right now. It can be sent later. So, for example, Natalia, she wants me to do something because she's my assistant. She has a few tasks for me. She sends them to me, and she doesn't expect me, unless something is urgent, but normally it isn't. She doesn't expect me to react on them right now. She just expects me at some point in time, today, to review them and act on them. And this is the second level, the feedback level. And then there's the third level, which is also text-based. It's back and forth. So this is where you exchange messages. This is where we chat, for example. We chat through different applications and exchange messages. So, for example, I ask something to Natalia, she responds to me, and we chat to just make sure that we are on the same page. And this is the third level of communication. And only then there is the fourth level, which is talk to me, which is voice communication. This is where we talk to each other. This is where we call somebody just to clear things up, just to make sure that we are on the same page. This is where we talk for a minute. This would be this, walk to somebody and talk to them in a traditional office. But even that, we'll get to that later, but we schedule this. We don't do it, just call somebody right now, unless it's really, really urgent, which normally it isn't. And then the fifth level, the last level, are the meetings. So this is face-to-face, this is video chat, video calling, and this is where you need 100% of your attention from each other. And as you can see from the shape of the pyramid, this should be, this method of communication should be used the least, not the most. And if you think about it, if you look at this pyramid, in many companies, it's the complete opposite. It's the other way around. There are more meetings and more chatting and more back and forth than the feedback and the deep work, which shouldn't be like that. We in order for us to be productive, to work productively in a team with others, we should first have deep work, then get feedback, then go to back and forth, then talk if we need to, and then, as the last resort, go with meetings. So this is our pyramid of communication, and we'll deal right now with each step, with each level, a little bit deeper here. So let's start with the level one, with deep work, focused work, uninterrupted work. So this is where we get things done. This is this place. This is what we should guard. We should respect also for each other. This is where we spend this is where we should spend most of our time to really be productive, to really deliver results. And especially in our case, where Nozbe is an all-remote company, it's hard to fake work. You have to deliver work. If you don't deliver work, you are not working. So we communicate through results. We communicate through work. In an office, you can be audible. You can be talking to people, attending all the meetings. So you can have this aura of busyness, even though you're not really, you're just busy, but you're actually not delivering any work. In an environment like ours, we have to deliver work. That's why we have to respect each other's focus time to actually get things done. And how we do that? We use lots of tools, different tools, depending on who's doing what. So, for example, our designers use Adobe Creative Cloud apps like Photoshop, Illustrator, and some prototyping apps. The coders, the programmers, developers, they use Xcode, they use Atom code editor and other code editors. I use Scrivener, for example, to write things and to write not only. I wrote this blog, this book, the No Office Apps book, also in Scrivener, but I also wrote my articles, most of my content actually in Scrivener, so I use that as well. And I'm also known for my book iPad Only, which I co-wrote with my friend Augusto Pinat. So I use a lot iPad. Actually, 80% of my time I spend on my iPad. So, for example, I use Textastic to code on the iPad, OneWriter, AI Writer. So these apps to actually be productive on the iPad. So on this level, we use our apps, our specialized apps that we need for our work. And what we do later, also on this level, we ship our work to the team, not expecting the feedback yet. We just deliver our results. And how we do that? In Nozbe, if you're a developer, a programmer, a coder, what you do, you commit your code, you send your code to GitHub. This is our collaborative coding environment. This is where all the code of Nozbe, all of our repositories of code are. So we use GitHub for that. And if we have written articles, and created files, designs, what we do is we put them in Dropbox very often. So we have shared Dropbox folders. So we put the files in Dropbox. But most importantly, we put things in Nozbe comments. So what we do, we have lots of shared projects in Nozbe, and then to a task that we were supposed to complete, we attach our work. We attach the link to the file or the file itself, and then we add a comment, saying what we just did, what we just delivered, and we do it also in Nozbe. This way, the rest of the team knows what we did, where we are, and they can follow up with our work. So this was level 1, deep work, focused work, and delivering results to the rest of the team, communicating through work, actually. And this is the second level. Second level is feedback. And it's also very important because, we need feedback from people. We need to know if we are on the same page, if we are doing great, if what we're doing is right, if we don't make any mistakes. So what we do is we ask for feedback. But again, on the second level, we don't ask for feedback like, tell me what you think about it right now. We don't do that. We are still, the second level is still not about not interrupting other people. It's about getting things done in a team, but still asking for feedback, but letting the other party give us feedback later. So that's the so it's so the thing is that we still work asynchronously. The thing is that what we do, we send our work, we ask for feedback, we delegate tasks to other people, but then we let them respond to it when they have the time, not right here, right now. It's about respecting other people's boundaries, other people's time, other people's deep work moments in uninterrupted work. So for example, how we do that? Again, we use Nozbe, so we use tasks, we delegate tasks. For example, if I write an article and I want Natalia to have a look at it, I write it in the task, I delegate it to her, and she actually responds later and reads my article and lets me know what she thinks about it. So again, we use Dropbox, and Dropbox you can save files collaboratively. And also in Dropbox, what you can do is you can also comment on files directly. And then we also have GitHub, where we post code and where we commit code. And in GitHub, you can also comment on a line of code, on a pull request, like on many parts of code. That's why we love GitHub so much, because then the programmers can really communicate effectively, also asynchronously. They deliver something, they review other people's code, and they get things done together. We use Google Drive, Google Docs for shared collaboration as well. We use Evernote because Evernote syncs very well with Nozbe. So, for example, I give lots of feedback in Evernote as Evernote notes, and then I attach this to comments in Nozbe. And we also use this app called Confluence, also where we can comment on text. This is, for example, how we use Nozbe. In Nozbe, we add comments to tasks in shared projects, and then later, when other people comment as well, we have this comment section in Nozbe. So, for example, every few hours, I go to comment section and I just review comments from the team. What happened? What people are working on. What are the comments? Where can I also leave my comment? And this is this perfect asynchronous environment where I review my comments every few hours, or maybe every hour, depending on the day. And I add my comments when needed, if needed. And in this way, everybody's focused on their work, but still they get feedback from me and from other team members. So this is why we get lots done, because we respect other people's time, deep work, focused work, and still add comments, add feedback when we have the time to do that. And also the same here with my editor, when I finished writing my book, No Office Apps, I sent it to her as a Google Docs document, and we could, I could track the changes, see the changes that she made, and also communicate with her through comments. So it was really a good environment to get things done. And then third level is back and forth are the messages. So this is already in real time. So basically, when I send a direct message to my assistant, I want her to respond, not ASAP, but pretty soon, or almost instantly. And so this way, I'm interrupting other people a little bit because I need the feedback now. I need the feedback, sooner rather than later. But still, it's done through text. It's not done through voice or walking to somebody. It's done through text because this way they can choose to respond or choose not to respond when they're busy and I want to finish something up. And on the other hand, because it's text, there is history of our communication, our conversation history, so we can always get back to it and check out why what happened there, why some decision was made. So it's really it's like text-based communication should be exercised more also in a traditional office, because then you have this trace, you have this history, and how you made the decisions. So it's really I encourage everyone, even in a traditional office, to start using text more rather than walking to somebody and just chatting and talking, because there is no trace of that. And later, when you want to get back to a decision, you just don't know where it was and how it was made. So what we do here, we use Slack as our main chat app, but also with some people I use iMessage, WhatsApp, and also in Nozbe you can mention somebody. So for example, if I'm working on a task and I want some some information from Natalia, I'm just going to use @Natalia in the comment. What do you think? I would write @Natalia, what do you think about it? And she will receive a push notification that Michael mentioned her in a task, so she can get back to me. But mainly for this level, for level 3 of back and forth, we use Slack. So we use messages. So for example, this is our, my Slack window, and you can see I have from top to bottom. On the top, I have direct communication, so direct messages to Natalia, to Marcin, to Tom. So with people I work most, I have direct communication here. And then we have private channels where only a few people are invited. And then we have public channels for the whole team. For example, we have the firm channel where we announce things, where we, for example, just announced this webinar over there on in the firm channel. So we use all these methods of communication, chat-based, to be able to communicate. But again, whenever something is actionable, we put it in Nozbe, in our task management system, so we communicate through tasks. But here in chat is where we clear things out. Is when we want to contact somebody and just get their opinion quicker. We use the chat in Slack. All right, so we are approaching the 4th level of communication, the voice calls. And the voice calls is calling people on just talking to people, but actually calling is the thing. And why calling? Why not talking to people face to face? Because with calling, what you get is it doesn't require 100% of focus from the other person and from you. You can place a call when you're commuting, when you're having a walk, or where you're just, for example, clearing stuff in your desk, on your desk. So the cool thing about this is that you can still do something which doesn't require lots of brain activity to do while you're talking to somebody. And this level of communication, I use it pretty frequently, but only for a short periods of time, just to clear things out. Usually, when we are on the 3rd level, where we exchange messages, and I see that we're exchanging messages, but we are not actually on the same page. So this is what we do. What I do, I ask them, can I call you? And I'm like, and they're like, call me now, or call me in 15 minutes because I'm finishing something. So even these calls, I'm scheduling. I'm not, calling people just out of the blue. So what happens is I call them and I ask them for opinion, and we clear things out quickly and done, and I hang up, and that's it. So voice calls, very short, just to get clearly to the point, where we see, especially in the chat, sometimes we're not on the same page, we are not understanding things the same way. So it's better to call, explain, and be done with it. So what we do for that, we use, apart from just calling people on their phone numbers, we use Skype. Skype audio and FaceTime audio, which are very, very good. But recently, even Slack, WhatsApp, and Facebook Messenger introduced calling. So, for example, in Slack, sometimes when I'm chatting with somebody, I just call them right from Slack because it's just the easiest. But the quality, the call quality, is not that as good in Slack as in Skype or FaceTime audio. So it just depends. But I can call from all of these places, and we use it frequently. Again, just to clear things out when we just want to have it done quicker. And there you go, our 5th level, meetings. So this is the something that we use very rarely, but of course we use it as well because we need meetings as well. But this is the last level of team communication. This is last resort. And in many companies, this is the first one. I mean, people schedule meetings just to ramp up the first set of meetings. Just there's a meeting before, pre-meeting, before a meeting, before a meeting, which doesn't make a lot of sense, because on the meeting, you want people to have 100%. You want 100% attention from everyone. So if you want that, meetings are very expensive. If you think about it, like every person, if they charge, let's say, per hour, everybody has an hourly rate kind of when they have a salary. So if you think about it, if you multiply this, meetings are very, very expensive. And there is this saying that meetings are toxic. They don't have to be toxic, but they have to be done right. And they have to be used only when they are really needed. So before we get to that, I want to show how we do meetings also in an all-remote team, because we very rarely can meet face-to-face. So what we do, we use Zoom and the same application that you're using right now for this webinar. We also use Skype and Google Hangouts, but not as often, because Zoom just proved to be really, really stable and works very well, and also works very well on the mobile. So I can even see people live video feeds on my iPhone or iPad. So we use Zoom mostly right now for meetings. And here is an example of a Zoom room where we meet. Here are 6 people. We are on video and we talk to each other. So meetings in Nozbe we schedule them only when they're really needed, and even then we try to keep them as short as possible. And what's more, we don't go with a meeting if we're not prepared. If there is no agenda set up, we don't do the meeting. If we're not prepared, we didn't do our homework, so we didn't work on the level 1, level 2, level 3 before the meeting, there is no meeting. So the meeting is like the last thing that we do, because over there we get live feedback from people, we get their reactions, their gut feelings, and this is what was really important. So for example, we have this meeting called Design Fight. It's a meeting every Wednesday at 12 and at noon, and it lasts for about 2 hours. What happens there is we discuss our application, we discuss the design of our application, where we had it, new features, new improvements to Nozbe. But before the meeting, we have the whole agenda for the meeting. We have everything written up, so people have done their homework, have done their work on the first level and second level. They've gotten their feedback. So what happens is that when we have the meeting, we go through the agenda, we talk everything through, and if the meeting got shorter, we just stop it. That's it. So for example, yesterday we had this meeting and it was just 1.5 hours instead of 2 hours, but it was fine. We talked about everything we wanted to talk about. That's it. Thank you very much. 2 weeks ago, we didn't have this meeting at all because our main designer was on holidays, and I was busy with the Nozbe promotion. So to get everything, get everything right. So we were very busy. So we decided, let's cancel this week's meeting and meet next week. So again, with meetings, you have to be really, it has to be conscious choice. And people have to be prepared, because you are asking people for their 100% attention. So they better be prepared for that. So as you can see, the pyramid of communication at Nozbe, this is what we figured out. It's really a pyramid, and it's really like it starts with deep work, and there is then feedback, and then quick back and forth, also in text, and then only then you talk to somebody, and then you schedule a meeting. So as you can see, this is how we believe efficient, effective, and team communication should look like, because Again, we are paid to be knowledge workers. We are paid for our deep work, for our knowledge, for our skills, and we should be able to use them, and not just, we are these smart people who just spend all the time in meetings, and we're never prepared for these meetings. We're there, halfway there, we're trying to work during the meeting. Doesn't make any sense. So I encourage you to reevaluate how you communicate with other people, if you attend really all of these meetings, or how you do your communication, even if you work in a traditional office, not like us. Like, if you can do a more text-based communication. So to make sure that you can really have the information in text, written in text, with all the history of everything that it gives you, and still be able to communicate more efficiently. Because if you just chat, if you just talk, things fall through the cracks. People just forget about things. We have this saying in Nozbe, if somebody wants something from us and we are just talking about it, we finish this off by saying, okay, create a task for me. So create a task in our shared project for me with explanation what you want. I'll deal with that. Because in Nozbe, if you create a task for somebody and you create a task, you add a comment, and especially you delegate this task to somebody in a shared project, what happens is that this task becomes somebody else's priority. So they will not lose it, they will see it, and they will be able to act on it in their due time. So again, here on this slide, I want to just remind you that in Nozbe, we have these two channels of communication also with the team and and with people from outside of the team. So we use email for everyone else, and we use Nozbe primarily as a way to communicate between each other. And we also use Slack, as I mentioned, and other things, but Nozbe is our we communicate through tasks. So again, I encourage you to try more text-based communication rather than voice-based. And there's another bonus I wanted to share with you right now that we are here on this webinar, is that you don't also be afraid to experiment with the way you work. And for example, in my company, I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't have that much time to do my weekly review. And if you've been following, getting things done, it's really important to review your week and to be prepared for next week. And on my team, I talked to people that work with me, and I asked them when was their last weekly review. And what they told me is, no, we don't really have much time for that. So what we did is we did a new policy called TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. And for Friday, what we did, we decided, let's do Friday differently. Let's work really hard from Monday to Thursday. And on Friday, what we do is in the morning we have our meetings that we need, and then after that, around midday, around noon, what we do is everybody does their weekly review. And after that, they can focus on their personal development. They can watch some conference online, learn some new skill sets, something new. They don't actually work. So we don't work on Fridays. We work. We use this time to actually for personal development, to just be better and to work better. So this is what we do. This is how we do it. This way, on Friday we have our meetings, so we don't have that many meetings on Monday to Thursday, because we move most of them to Friday, and then we do a weekly review, and then whatever else we want to do. So this is how we do Fridays. And so again, our pyramid: deep work, feedback, back and forth, talk to me, and meetings. So this is how we are working in Nozbe, and I hope that from this webinar you'll take it and you'll take some of it. You'll use some of the apps that I mentioned to actually improve your team communication, and not only in the team. There was this thing that my wife complained that I wasn't responding to her emails, and I said, baby, why don't we just create a shared project in Nozbe, and then you could just add a task for me. And we did that, and then she realized that it's just faster to get to me like this, because then she creates a task in Nozbe, she delegates it to me, I get it in my priority, I deal with it, I reply, and she gets gets it very quickly on her iPhone. So she just knows that things are being taken care of, and she admitted that it was faster to communicate with me through Nozbe than actually through email. And the good thing about communicating through tasks is that we add comments to tasks. They're relevant to this task. So in an email, you can mention several things, but in a comment to a task, you should only mention the things that are related to this one particular task. So it's even more efficient and easier. And again, it's faster because this is like a dedicated channel for your internal communication. So anyway, there are a lot more examples in the book, No Office Apps, which I'll be happy to give you. The book is offered in PDF, Mobi, and EPUB, so all of the readers can take it. So you can read it on your computer, on your smartphone, on your tablet, whatever you feel like. And you can get the book if you right now, if you use if you take advantage of our offer, nozbe.com/now. So again, you pay for 10 months of Nozbe and you get 5 additional months actually. So it's 3 months free to the yearly payment, but as I mentioned, the yearly payment is already discounted by 2 months. So actually you pay for 10 months and you get 50 months of Nozbe, which is really a great offer. Where it's going to be good until only Monday. On Monday, we're going to, on Monday midnight, we're going to just stop this. But only now, during the webinar, you can get the book as well, the No Office Apps book. Because we just prepared it. We just made it available last week, and only wanted to give first to our most loyal customers. So make sure to check it out, nozbe.com/now. And this way we'll know that you use this offer, and then we'll send you the book right after the webinar. And some people ask me, because right now we have 3 tiers of Nozbe. There's a free version, pro version, business version. People ask me, which should I choose? Which account should I choose? And so the free version is up to 5 projects, free forever. So there's no time limit there. Normally, when you set up a Nozbe account, you get a free 30-day trial of Nozbe Pro. If you want to have 30-day trial of Nozbe Business, you have to contact customer support, and they will put you on a Nozbe Business trial. And but after the trial ends, you can choose the free version and just limit yourself to 5 projects. And we have lots of users. I mean, actually hundreds of thousands of users who are still using the free version as well. But very often they use the free version for a while, and then they realize that the 5 projects are not enough, and then they can actually they move to Nozbe Pro. But some people just go to Nozbe Pro directly, which we really appreciate. So the difference between Pro and Business. Pro account is being used by smaller teams. Or just one person, 2 people. And especially I encourage you, when you have a Pro account, the second account in Nozbe is free. So what you can do is you have your own Pro account, and you can set up account inside. If you go to the team section, which you can see on the left side, and you just add a person. You can add, for example, your wife or your business partner, your significant other to Nozbe. So you create actually a separate account for them. And this account, you are tied with the team section, but actually all of the projects that are private for you are also private for this other person. So they don't see your projects unless you share the projects with them. So when you have them when you have these people on your team, in your the team section, you can just easier share the projects with them. But until you share the projects remain private until you share them. Then they become shared projects. So it's really important to make this distinction. So anyway, Nozbe Pro for smaller teams. Nozbe Business is our new offering. We launched it in February this year. It's for bigger teams of 10 people or more, where they want us to help them set up the Nozbe account in their company. And this, you get a VIP support. So we have a dedicated account manager. We can do some consulting with you. We can help you out to just introduce people in your team, to Nozbe. So this way, if you like Nozbe and a few people on your team like Nozbe, but the others are hesitant, in Nozbe Business, we can help them out, help them set up so that you can actually start using Nozbe efficiently very quickly. So this is why we have the Nozbe Business offering. And to give you an example, for example, Michael Hyatt, a very well-known blogger and a good friend, he's using Nozbe Pro. He has a small team, a growing team, actually. He's right now very, very successful with his recent productivity course, his recent books. So he has a very nice growing team, but he's still using Nozbe Pro for that, because he shares projects in the team, and for them, it's fine, the Nozbe Pro account. But for example, we have a composer, Piotr Rubik, who's a Polish composer, right now also doing concerts around the world, and because he has so many concerts to manage, so many things to manage, so many recordings and all of these things, he's in Nozbe business because he has to connect with lots of people, with a bigger team, and we actually helped him set this whole thing up. So he's using Nozbe for business. So again, you have a few examples. Different people, different teams, different requirements, but don't hesitate to try. Especially that we have the Nozbe productivity guarantee. So apart from free 30-day trial, we also still give you 30-day money-back guarantee. And even if you do a bit longer than 30 days, no problem. Just email customer support at questions@nozbe.com. We'll be happy to refund you the money if you don't like Nozbe, because we only want happy customers. We only want really people who want to get things done, who want to just we want to just improve people's lives with Nozbe. And we are humbled to see that people from all over the world, hundreds of thousands of people, are using Nozbe every day to get their things done and to move faster, to communicate better in their teams. And that's why we give the guarantee, because we know that if you like Nozbe, you're going to use it. If you don't, we want you to try something else, because we want you to be really happy and really productive. So again, the offer is now that you get 3 months additional to the 2 months that you get when you extend by a year or upgrade for a year of Nozbe. And apart from that, when you order now, you get the ebook. Just nozbe.com/now is the link. And right now, I'm done with the presentation webinar, and I would love to take your questions. So Natalia, if you're there, tune in and we'll chat, and I'll be happy to answer all the questions that are coming in.
Hi, I'm back. Thank you so much, Michael, for the amazing presentation. I'm sure that everyone found it really inspiring and everyone liked it. So now let's move on to the Q&A session. If you have any more questions, guys, please don't hesitate and send them over to us through the Q&A box at the top of the screen. We already have some questions, but if you have any doubts or suggestions, just go ahead and ask. Of course, we'll try our best to answer as many of them as we possibly can. And the first question is from Roel, who wants to ask, how did you at Nozbe get everyone in this modus? In my company, a traditional contractor, I discovered that I have trouble to introduce this way of working, so working remotely.
Yeah, the problem is with psychology. I mean, people very often are like, I have to see you that you are working. I have to, like this famous management by walking around, right? So you just walk around and you see people working and you're happy. So the thing is that we believe in Nozbe. We posted on our blog our values, and one of our values is that control is good, but trust is better. And even in traditional office, you have to trust people, because they can be sitting and browsing Facebook for all I know. I mean, they can be doing lots of things. I mean, they don't have to be really doing on what you think they're doing right now, just because they're there, just because they're sitting there, next to the desk. So it's important. First of all, I think it's important to learn that it's all about trust. But second, it's very important to just give it a try. Go for one day. And again, establish ways to communicate, ways to get feedback. Just as we mentioned here on this webinar, this way the other person knows, okay, he's not here, but he's actually delivering results. He's done this thing and he's done the other thing, and so. This is what we do, for example, also in our chat. That even we have this thing in Slack that we post when we go to eat something for lunch. Like, I go for lunch. Oh, I go for lunch too. Oh, I just had a good lunch. I already ate. So we actually post these things just for us to have a feeling of what we're doing right now. And we use Slack, especially in our team, as a way to actually to feel more connected, to feel more like we are in a traditional office. But on the other hand, we deliver results. We communicate through tasks. So I think the question is to start small. Just go for one day, work from home, but establish ways to communicate. Establish before you go, explain how you're going to deliver your work and how you're going to prove that you're actually more productive at home or outside in the cafeteria or wherever you want to feel like working. So I think this will be the first thing. It's the same thing that people ask me, how do I convince people to work through Nozbe and not send me emails? And I'm like, okay, just keep them sending emails. But for example, for just one particular project, set up this project in Nozbe, share it with people, set everyone up just for this project and explain to them, okay, for this project, we don't use email. We just add tasks, we communicate through tasks, and let's see how this goes. And this might not succeed the first time, but maybe the second time, and maybe it succeeds, just right off the bat. So this is, I would start small. I think this is the key. And in this way, you can see that people start, it's not that bad, actually. So actually he's at home, but he's actually doing something. Or, so actually, instead of emailing him, I'm going to just create a task for him. Like people just need their time to, it's a change. People don't like change. And even if the change would be really good for them, they have to get used to the change. So I would start small. And I think with that, you can get great results.
Exactly. Yes, it's always difficult to change a system, for example, to convert from a Windows to a Mac and everything, and it seems daunting, but it's really just a matter of time. So it's good to experiment and just to try other things, and like you said, start small, and then you can move forward and try new things, try new features, and so on. Okay, thank you.
I mean. Yeah. How many times I was laughed at the people because I told them that I do everything on the iPad. They were like, on an iPad, it's impossible to get anything done on the iPad. And this is my main machine, and I wrote the book about it. So it's the same, people have to get adjusted to new things, but, you shouldn't force them to. You should encourage them with small steps.
Exactly. Okay, thank you. And the next question is from Gareth. How do you organize your Dropbox folder so it's intuitive for your team? Or is it a loose archive referenced by other software like Nozbe? So how do you organize Dropbox folders?
So what we do, for example, we have just a bunch of folders. Like for example, there is a design folder where we have all the designs, and this is one is organized by our designer, and they just put stuff there. Right now, I mean, we just talked about it in the beginning of this week that I am about to put all my presentations that I did, like this presentation, in one Dropbox folder so that everybody can access them and everybody can see them and can use them and can use some parts of my presentations, some slides from me. So so I'm going to put them there. So what we do is we try to have the structure as flat as possible. So just like in the design we have icons, fonts, book, all these things a little bit. The cool thing is that everybody on our team has Dropbox Pro, so there is no problem with the file limit. And actually on Dropbox, the good thing is that you can actually sync to your computer selectively. So you don't have to sync everything to your computer. You can still access it, but don't have to sync everything. So what we do, we have just a bunch of folders with most of our company information. We have some subfolders there, but actually, it's pretty easy, it's pretty intuitive, and we try not to create too much structure, but we'll get to that later because in Nozbe is the same thing. We don't have too much structure there, and this way we can, people just can access this. And because we have the integration with Dropbox in Nozbe, so we can actually choose a file from our Dropbox inside a comment in Nozbe. So very easily we can attach Dropbox files inside the comments. But for example, with Natalia and Magda, they're my assistants, and with them I write a lot. So I even say in the comments, it's all in this file, and that's it. And they know where to find the file because we share a folder together, and they're all of the writing that we did is just in one big folder, and by date they can see the most recent one. So and they can find it very, very, very easily. So pretty flat structure, just a few folders, but pretty big folders. Like it's our knowledge base, so we put it there. But we also reference them in Nozbe. We just add them. We use the Nozbe Dropbox integration.
That's right. I'm sorry, my connection was lost, so I don't know if you said it already, but what I wanted to add is that not everyone has access to all the folders. So for example, I don't need to have the folder design because I'm not working on the design of the app. So like I only have access to folders that I need to use, and that's why it's really clear for me. And I don't have like too many folders on Dropbox so that I'm lost and I can't find anything.
It's another thing. It's another thing that I didn't mention actually on the webinar, but it is very, very, very important. Is that when you schedule a meeting, not everybody has to be there. Like not all the saints have to be there, you know. So just invite people to the meeting that can really contribute, and people have to be. And again, it's a question of working with people to understand, okay, I'm not inviting you to this meeting, not because I don't like you, but I think because I don't want to waste your time. I just want to have only these few bunch of people, and I want to just talk to them about it, and that's it. Because I think, you know, and if you have some other feedback, we'll let you know with the results. So we'll ask you for feedback. But it's the same when we have projects that we share together. So when we share a project at Nozbe, we also invite only the minimum amount of people, the minimum number of people that really are needed for this particular project. And nobody gets offended. I'm not in the project. But if when they are needed and they're like, but I don't have access, so like, okay, no problem, I'm going to add you to this project. So it's not a big deal. And we don't make big deal out of it. There is nothing, you don't like me, or I don't know, things like that. And the same, as you said, with the Dropbox folders. We have a few of them, and I'm also not invited to every one of them, but I don't need to. I only need the folders that I need. And if during the conversation on somewhere else comes up a situation, you know, Michael, you have to check this file, and I don't have access to it, you know, invite me over there. I'm going to have access to it, no problem. So this is also how we keep our sanity. You know, this is how we don't, you know, we can get focused work, because we don't have to have access to everything. We don't have to know everything. We have to know what we really need to know, and the rest of the feedback we can get asynchronously. And there is also there is a very good story in the book, in the No Office Apps book, how we had a big all hands meeting where everybody was on one meeting, and we canceled it because it was useless, it was stupid, and how we changed it so in a way, in different ways, to actually have the same result but more efficiently. So get to the same goal, but without this very big meeting to have everyone listening and everyone being there.
Exactly. So it's always good to evaluate and reevaluate your choices and the way you work, because, you know, at one point you can think that it's really effective, but suddenly things just change, and suddenly you may just find out that it's not working anymore. So you need to reevaluate it and recreate it and find another way to make it work. Okay, and another question about Dropbox. Why use Dropbox and Google Drive instead of choose just one? What's the advantage of either?
So I prefer Dropbox because it just syncs better. It just works with more apps. Also, especially, I am the iPad guy, so like most of the iPad apps sync with Dropbox by default. I just prefer Dropbox. Google creeps me out a little bit, to be honest. But the problem with Google that I have is the Google apps. I mean, I use Google Drive apps like Google Docs, Google Spreadsheets, because I have to, because they are still the best collaboration apps out there. Luckily, more collaboration apps are coming because, for example, for some political reasons, Google is not really updating their iOS apps too often. So, for example, the Google Docs apps on the big iPad Pro, they are still not updated. I mean, this is ridiculous. And, you know, the big iPad Pro is already 1 year in the market. So, for some reason, Google is not as committed to iOS platform. You know, they have Android, so they might think that, you know, Android should be more important to them. And Dropbox works just beautifully on everything and syncs by default with many more apps. So that's why, for me, Dropbox just works better. Just works better. So Dropbox doesn't offer, for example, the Google Docs real-time collaboration on a document. So so that is only offered. They have now the Dropbox Paper thing, which is, you know, at its infancy. So it's just starting out. That's why the idea is this, you know, and as you have said, as you have seen in this on the slides, for many levels of communication, we use several apps. It might seem strange and counterintuitive. Why would you use so many apps if you can just use one? Just like you mentioned with Google Drive and Dropbox. Yeah, but some apps are just good for one thing and some other apps are good for the other thing. So for example, we use Slack mostly, and even with Natalia, we communicate usually through Slack, but we are both on iPhone. So sometimes I just prefer to just call her on FaceTime through the iPhone, or send her an iMessage. For example, Slack doesn't work very good with the Apple Watch. So for example, I prefer iMessage communication because then I can actually reply to messages on Apple Watch. So it just depends who you work with, and the idea is to work more naturally, more efficiently. And that's the goal, not the goal to be strict about something, to just impose, we have to just use this app and that's it. When the other, and it's hard to find a silver bullet, an application that works great with everything and for everything. I mean, this is why, for example, in Nozbe, we have integrations with different apps because, people use different things. And we want to have the same. We want to, like in the new version of Nozbe, which is coming up very soon, we will have OneNote and OneDrive integration because people, use Word, use Excel, and they use the new Office 365 subscription. So we want them to also attach documents easily in Nozbe as comments to files, to tasks. So I think it's good to have like the main apps, like we have Slack, we have Nozbe, we have the GitHub, we have a few main apps that we use, like everybody uses, and we're on the same page there. But we don't limit ourselves because for some things, just other things are better.
That's right. And why limit yourself if you think about it, you also use a lot of different apps in real life, like for sending messages, for example, we use text messages, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, and all these different apps. So if you just think about it, it's just normal. So why limit yourself to using only one thing if you can just use several that work for different things? For example, when writing your book, it's really handy to write it in Google Drive because I can work on it at the same time. So we can both work on the same document at the same time, and Dropbox doesn't offer it. Well, now it does with Dropbox Paper, but it's like you said, it's only just starting now. So, and we're used to Google Drive. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, for example, in my case, when I was writing this book, the No Office Apps book, I wrote it in Scrivener because it's just a better writing app. So I wanted to write it there. Only then, when I had it written, I exported it to Google Docs for editing. So again, different, the same book, but different process. So it's a different app. Again, I could be writing the whole thing in Google Docs. It would be possible, but it wouldn't be nice because Scrivener is a lot better writing environment for a book than Google Docs. So again, it's finding also a best tool for the job and also for this part of the job, this part of the process.
Exactly. Okay, thank you. And now another question about apps. So what do you use GitHub for, and what do you use Confluence for?
Right. So I mean, GitHub is just, without this, we would be totally lost. So GitHub is, first of all, it's version control. So when you create a code, you want to be able to access old versions of the same code, to maybe find the bug, find when the bug was committed. For example, when there was a problem with the code, you roll back to previous versions to just see how it was done. So it's the first thing is the Git. This is the Git part. The hub part, so the GitHub part, is the fact that we can comment on just one line of code. Just like we mentioned in Google Docs, you can comment on one line of text. In GitHub, you can comment on a line of code. You can comment on pull requests. So you can comment on code. So for the programmers, this is fantastic when they review each other's code, because in Nozbe, we always do code review. So when somebody writes a code, the other person has to review the code, and only then it goes to testing. So we really have all these layers to make sure that we deliver the best code possible and the best app possible for you. So what happens is that when they do the peer review, the code review, they can add comments, they can ask questions. Why did you do it like this, or shouldn't you have done it easier, or whatever. So they communicate through comments in GitHub. And this is for them. Without it, it would be really hard. It will be hard just to have just the versions, but without the comments. So it's really important. And Confluence, we use currently Confluence for it's like our wiki. So we post information there, but I don't like it too much, to be honest. But for now, it works for our team. But we're searching for something a little bit better, so that we can actually comment on the information, but still like work collaboratively on text. So it's So we use Confluence mainly as documentation. Documentation for our company and for the Nozbe application.
That's right. So if you guys have any apps such as Confluence, if you have any suggestions for us, please email us at questions@nozbe.com, or just head to the chat window and write to us.
And for me, the main problem is that many apps like Confluence, for example, or Google Docs are not as fluent, as good on the iPad or on the iPhone. And we are a very mobile company. We work from anywhere. So we need apps that are more, just like Nozbe. We want apps that work just like Nozbe, that on every platform you can just use it and work.
All right. And here's a very interesting question about trust, but not trust in people, but in apps. What about the security of data? You have to trust to Google, Dropbox, Evernote, etc. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, and you have to trust Nozbe as well. So there's more of that. So first of all, if we lost any of your data, we would be really screwed. We would have no business anymore. So this is something we have to take really seriously. In the case of Nozbe, I can speak for myself. We have 3 simultaneous backups of Nozbe that are happening right now, every second, to 3 different data centers in 3 different continents. So we make sure that, even if our data center right now, the current one, is blown up or something, we can actually replicate and put Nozbe up and running in less than 15 minutes, and with no data loss. I mean, with exactly the same data as it was in the moment of blow up. So really, we are really serious about this. So in our case, we really make sure that we have all the backups. And also, when you upload a file to Nozbe, we encrypt the file and we store it on Amazon cloud. And again, it's encrypted. So Amazon cannot access your files. I mean, we cannot access your files. I mean, if we go to the files, they're just encrypted files, and that's it. So, and the encryption keys are on different servers. And again, and they're backed up as well. So we really make sure that the data is secure and backed up. I mean, to be honest, it's more backed up than on any of your computers. I mean, I still use, back up my computer. I back up my iPhone to the iCloud and do all these things. But I trust Nozbe more because I know that everything I put in Nozbe is going to be synced and backed up in several places right now at this very moment, and it won't be lost at all. And it's the same with Dropbox, with all these other providers. They live and breathe by this. I mean, if they would screw this up, they would just have no business at all. I mean, failure, losing trust in here is just deadly to your company. So I trust them because the infrastructure right now is very good. It's a lot cheaper to store more information, to store several backups. I mean, right now, when we started Nozbe, to be honest, we just had 1 backup. And now we can have so many backups because, it is more expensive, but it's not that expensive. But our peace of mind is just it's amazing because we know that we have all these copies and they are safe, they're secure, and I think this is the most important thing. So I trust these apps. I still have my own backups just in case. So I have the backup of my computers and of my iPhones and everything. But I trust these apps because I know that these companies are doing everything they can to make sure that the data is safe. And I've been using Evernote for so many years. I've never lost a note. I've been using Nozbe for many years, and we even have undo. So, like for example, even if you delete a whole project, you can contact customer support and they will just bring it back to you because we keep the deleted stuff for a while until we just remove it completely. So really, I trust the providers more than I trust myself, actually, if you think about it, And again, with Google is an ad company. So with me and Google, I have this strange relationship. I keep stuff in Google. I use Gmail. So I use a few things there. and I'm sure that they do mine my data. But for example, companies like ours, like Nozbe, like Evernote, like Dropbox, we we are not an ad company. You are our customers, not the advertisers. So we don't look at your data, we don't scan your data, we don't mine your data. We just keep your data safe. This is all we do, and this is our job. And if we would not do our job well, you wouldn't use our apps. So I trust them, and I think in now 2016, the infrastructure is so good that we should be able to trust them. I mean, this is paramount. Keep your, try to back up your Mac or your Windows PC every now and then. It's really a good thing to do. I use Backblaze, for example, to back up my Mac, which is a great app, and I use also Time Machine. So keep your backups, but really, we do a lot more work to make sure that your data is safe with us.
That's right. And it's always safer to use a cloud so that nothing gets lost in case your computer breaks or something. You just know that you can log in from any computer and you just have access immediately to all your data. So I believe that it's safer to use a cloud to store your documents and files.
If you think about it, my iPhone, if I lose my iPhone or I break my iPhone, I'm just going to buy a new one, restore it. I'm going to be in the same moment that I just lost it. So it's amazing if you think about it. The data is not tied to the iPhone. It's synced, it's backed up. So and I can go to a different computer and access the information from my iPhone because it's in the cloud. So it's just better.
And this way, you don't forget anything from your home. So if you forget a document or something, you can just access it on your iPhone. So that's really great if you forget things. Okay. And another question is how such an environment and this approach to different communication levels, how does it affect relationships within the team?
I think it's. I mean, we've been studying this for a while now, and I think it just gets better because when you respect other people's time, people respect you more. And you get more respect from each other. So we had this situation, for example, a few months back, that we had one of my teammates was actually commenting too much. He would just comment on almost everything. He would. We were laughing in the team that you open the fridge and he's going to comment there. So he was commenting a lot, and we mentioned that to him. Maybe you shouldn't comment so much. Maybe you should just. We appreciate your feedback, but maybe spend more time on your work and also and give only feedback where your feedback is really required. So first he wasn't, he took it a little bit, personally, as we're here trying to, correct him or something. But then he realized, we were right. And now he's still giving lots of feedback, really good feedback, but only but more only when he's required to get the feedback, to give us our feedback. And he lets things go. He lets some things just go on their own without his feedback, without his 10 cents, 2 cents, or whatever. So, and I think right now he's doing a better job. And from what I see, he's also in a better relationship with other people on the team because they know that he's not going to just respond to every comment that there is. He's not going to be answering everything. But when they need his feedback, he's going to be there. He's going to do a thorough and good feedback. So I think, because again, this pyramid of communication is an idea that came from us, that came through experience, and we've been tweaking it. We've been working on it. When we are still ironing things out. But also with the meetings, we right now, thanks to this conscious way of doing meetings, agenda and things like that, we have just better meetings. Like the same meeting that I mentioned, this design fight, we have it for more than 2 years now. And if I compare it to 2 years ago or 1.5 years ago, the ones that we have now are just so much better because we're more prepared. We do our homework better. So we make sure that the meeting is really effective, really, really, really productive. And it's more fun, because when we are productive, when we are prepared, the feedback is really valuable. It's really good. And it's just more fun to have a meeting where people are really chiming in with really valuable comment, and not just they're saying things to say things, to just mention that they're there, So it's I think, and again, it's gradually we work out this pyramid of communication. But I think, and I know Natalia, what's your opinion here? But I think, thanks to this pyramid of communication, just our team just works better, and we like working with each other even more.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that it's really great that we change things. So we don't stick to one thing just because we thought about it, I don't know, months ago. If we if we think, no, this is not working, then we're going to change it, and we're going to discuss how we can make it better for us. So I think that's important, that we are not afraid to change things, and that we are constantly evaluating if this and that is working or not. So I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so we've got a few minutes left, and I would just like to ask you one more question, and it's a question about the book. So people have been asking how to get the ebook, the No Office Apps ebook. So could you just repeat that for us and tell us once again?
So we just prepared the book. We just finished the book, and the book is ready to be shipped. And we had this idea that we want to a little bit incentivize people who actually take our offer. So take our offer to extend Nozbe for the next year and 3 additional months. So that's why to get the book really right now, today, all you have to do is just go to nozbe.com/now and just use the button there to extend your Nozbe account. If you do that, we'll trace that offer and we'll your order, and we'll send you just after the webinar. We'll send you the book. The thing is that if you are already a paying customer, and if you want to get the book anyway, you have to wait a little bit. If you don't take the offer right now, and the book will be available later in October to like a wider audience, but not yet. I mean, if you want to have the book right now, this is the only way to get it. And this is just the idea. We want to just really reward people who take advantage of this offer. So we will not keep the book to ourselves. We want to spread the book as much as possible, but not yet. And especially, I would value your feedback. So if you use the offer, if you get the book, I would be really happy to get feedback from you to let me know, because then maybe in the next coming weeks we can just tweak the book a little bit more. We can maybe add something and improve something. The book will be then in late October on sale on Amazon. It will be offered in various other channels, but right now you can get it free if you take the offer and if you extend your Nozbe account. So that's the idea.
Exactly. Okay, so thank you, Michael, for this amazing webinar. I think it was really inspiring, and that everyone will try to experiment a little bit with the No Office apps. And I think that you gave all of our listeners an insight of how we work remotely, how we do it, and how they can do it as well. And thank you guys for joining us here today. We really appreciate the time that you've spent with us. And Michael, is there anything that you'd like to add? Do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, just that what you said brilliantly, I think, is that don't be afraid to try things. Don't be afraid to just talk to people, try things, and try to to tweak your communication, the way you work, the way you do things, the way you do meetings. Like question this. Seek out a better way, a more efficient way, a more respectful way to each other, and to a more productive way. And this is what we keep doing. And one of the results is this ebook and is this webinar, is that we are tweaking it, we are improving, and we give these examples. But we're still, we're still trying. And that's why thanks for being tonight. Tonight if you're in Asia, and today in the morning if you're in Europe. And thanks for that, and thanks for being with us. And hope this webinar served as an inspiration to experiment, to tweak new things, to try new things. And if you have any feedback, let us know. And questions at nozbe.com. We'll be happy to answer your questions. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, guys. And I hope to see you on our future webinars. So take care.
All right. Thank you so much.